Hiya, welcome to Monday Moments with Fran. I hope that you are doing well. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and I have titled this video a topic that some people find uncomfortable because I think that is a really honest thing. Some people do find it uncomfortable to talk about mental health, and if you're one of those people, don't switch off the video. Let's have a discussion about it because it's really important that we have an awareness of it, we understand it, and we are able to manage our own as well as support other people as necessary. So a definition of mental health is a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. And I think oftentimes when we hear about mental health, we almost go to the extreme end of the spectrum where people have got a really challenged their mental health, or they've got a diagnosed condition, they're on medication, or they could even be in a hospital to manage and to support that. But if you are a human being, you have a level of mental health in the same way that you have your physical health. And it's really important that we realize that we have to take care of our mental health, our mental well-being, so our psychological and emotional states, because they're incredibly important. And in certain communities and in certain cultures, it's just not something that we talk about as often as I think is necessary. And if more people spoke about it, I definitely think it would take away some of the stigma around it, as well as normalizing that people can be challenged in their mental health at different periods of their life, purely because life is challenging at times. We go through things, we experience things that we've never experienced before, and so we don't necessarily have the tools and the ability to navigate it, and it can impact us. And that's not a problem. It's all about how we support ourselves, support one another, as well as learning around mental health. So I think it's really important. So I wanted to share personally a couple of things that I've experienced around this topic, and as well as things that I find quite helpful. So a few years ago, we had a really tragic incident in our family. One of my uncles was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident/incident. So it was really crazy at the time. And, because I live 100 miles from my family, it was harder because I was traveling down and then coming back to where I live and trying to support. But, I think grief is one thing, but then when it's something where someone's actually been killed, it also has another element to it because you've got police involved, there's investigations. And yeah, it was an incredibly intense, really hard time. And at the same time, we were, a believing family and just really trusting God through the whole process, but it was still really hard. And as a bit of a side note, one thing I think when it comes to having a faith, definitely it's important to pray, but that doesn't mean you also can't seek support in other ways as well, such as therapy and counselling as well. So what had happened was, I don't think I took much time off work, if any. I was just trying to manage the situation in between going to work, and I was at work, and I remember emailing all my colleagues to let them know pretty much an overview of the situation I was dealing with, but I had made it very clear I didn't want to talk about it. Just don't ask me how I'm doing. I just need to be at work and focus on work. And so I managed that for a few days, and then something happened where it was one little thing that just set me off, and I'll never forget being in the toilets at work and was hysterically crying, like really crying, like think worst case, ugly face crying, and then add some more. I was so distressed and I could not compose myself. So I remember messaging one of my friends. She came in the bathroom and got me, and I ended up being off work. I can't remember if it was a few days or a few weeks, because what had happened was I had not processed and I was not addressing what I was going through. I was trying to shove it away in a corner or put it into a bit of a box and save it for later. But the reality is I had to address this really serious trauma. I had to acknowledge it. I had to go through the feelings and not hide from the pain. And because I'd failed to do that, it kind of splurted out in a way that I wouldn't have wanted to, in an environment that at the time wasn't the best place for me to do that. And so that really taught me that when I go through something, I have to take the time I need to heal and to process. And so, you know, I lost another family member, tragically, my beautiful granny, who I still miss dearly. And when she went home to be with the Lord, or when she passed away, I took a month off work. And I said, I'm not going to do what I did before. I'm actually just going to take time to cry, to think, to journal, to pray, and just to really get myself healthy and balanced so I can carry on with life. And so today's encouragement is really about taking care of your own mental health and being intentional about it. This whole pandemic that we're currently in and of itself is traumatic for various reasons. And so take care of yourself, take care of your emotional and your psychological well-being. Things that I found really helpful to manage that I'm doing right now, as well as in previous times when I've gone through particular types of trauma, is exercise. I really enjoy swimming. And although I can't swim now, I've replaced that with walking, that I felt to be really therapeutic. Another thing I do is talk to the right people at the right time. So I definitely, find people to talk to. I do believe in counselling. I do go and have counselling when it's necessary, because it's important. Not everybody is equipped to even give you the right advice or the right wisdom. And there's sometimes that I can almost feel more annoyed if I'm talking to somebody and they're just trying to gloss over what I'm saying, or they'll say things like, oh, you'll be fine. And they just brush it off, and they're not allowing me the space in the room to actually express myself. So talking about it to the right person at the right occasion is really, really important. And the last thing is reminding myself that I am human. Sometimes other people have to remind me that as well. But just that whole self-talk and reminding myself that, you know, you've never been here before. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be tough. And how you feel today is okay. And if it's a really hard day, if it's a rough day, if I'm feeling low on a particular day, to remind myself that it's not always going to be like this, that things are going to change and things are going to get better. So be encouraged and take care of your mental health and look out for other people. I read this really tragic story on the news today. It was on social media about another pastor in the States who had unfortunately committed suicide. And, you know, this thing is, mental health is real. Depression is real, and it doesn't help to ignore it. It really helps to address it. And there's lots of agencies out there where you can signpost people to really get the support they need. But there's no shame. There should be no stigma. There should be no embarrassment around talking about mental health. Everybody has emotional and psychological areas that they need to make sure are well. Okay. So that was the encouragement for this week. And the last thing I just want to share is that I'm bringing some changes to this channel, which I'm really excited about. So for those of you who've been on this journey with me for a while, know that I started Monday Moments with Fran back in 2018, over 2 years strong. And something I've been really thinking about for a few months is really inviting people to come on and share an encouragement with me. Because as much as you've heard loads from me, there are so many people who have also got a heart to encourage, to support and to share. And I am going to be having some guests on. And so the first one is going to be next week. I'm thrilled about this person who's coming on, and I know they're just going to be such a blessing to you and share some nuggets, particularly pertaining to challenging times that we're going through as well. So that's it for me. Have a fantastic day ahead. Take good care and stay blessed.